Hi, welcome to week 5 of English 113. You've made it past the halfway point, so if you're still hanging in there, good for you. We're going to do something a little bit different with your third essay, the concept essay, and that is you'll be doing a peer review activity. Now, some of this is probably going to be familiar to you. I assume that some of you have done this kind of thing before. Maybe not online, though. If you look under the week 5 learning module, you'll find that there is a sheet that you can download that will help guide and give suggestions to what kind of feedback you need to be giving your partner. However, I want to just add a couple of quick points about how to do a successful peer review. One thing that I've mentioned before is the importance of remembering your audience. And for this essay, because you are explaining a concept that may or may not be familiar to your reader, you have to be particularly sensitive about what your reader knows, doesn't know, needs to know, wants to know, and what kind of language you can use to approach him or her, and sort of take what they do know and help them transition it to add this information that you are now providing for them. Therefore, this is an essay that I think really lends itself to the idea of a peer review. Secondly, for whatever reason, neurologically or psychologically or whatever, we don't read our own writing the way that other people read our writing or the way that we read someone else's writing. Maybe it's because there's that inherent bias whereby you already know what you're trying to say, and therefore when you read what's on the page, you're not just reading what's on the page, you're also reading what's in your head, which of course no one else can do. But there is an enormous advantage to reading someone else's work and having someone else read your work. You'll get the kind of feedback that you won't get just trying to do your own revision, no matter how good of a reviser you may be. Now, as far as the technical steps go, I think this is going to be fairly simple for you. You should have a partner. If you don't, you need to hurry up and get one. We have a forum under the week 4 learning module where you can interact with each other, or feel free to contact each other directly through course messages or email. But you do need to find a partner to get credit for this assignment. You're not just getting credit for your own work getting reviewed, but also for doing the work for somebody else. Second, you'll exchange drafts. And once you have your partner's draft, I'm going to suggest that you go ahead, you download it, and that you have a file in hand that you can manipulate. Now, what I do with your essays when I give feedback on them is I download them, and then in Word I click on Review at the top, and I click Track Changes, and that's what draws the little balloons over to the side when I make a comment. It allows me to insert additional comments, and also marks any changes I make in a different color. I'm going to suggest that as you read your partner's essay, it could be your roommate, I guess. As you read your partner's essay, think about not just grammar mechanics. Obviously look for misspellings, typos, punctuation errors, things of that sort. Those things are always helpful. But more importantly, I do want you to think about the content, i.e., does this make sense? A well-written essay that doesn't make logical sense is a bad essay. And we need to make sure, particularly when you're explaining a concept, that things make sense to the reader. Try to give your partner at least one comment per paragraph. Now, it could be, hey, this was a really good paragraph. Sometimes that's legitimate feedback. At the same time, don't feel obligated to always say, this was fine, this was good. Sometimes things aren't fine. Sometimes things aren't good. That's why we're doing the revision, is so that you can find ways of improving and making things better. So also don't be afraid to say, look, I didn't understand this. This seems to need work. This didn't seem to make sense. That's part of what you're there for also. You're not just there to be a cheerleader. You're not just there to be a critic, but you do need to do a little bit of both. Praise what's good, but also point out what needs work. So to the extent that you're able to do that for someone else and someone else is able to do that for you, you'll be learning some very important techniques. Believe me, knowing how to edit well is a very desirable commodity, and one that I think you'll find a lot of use for in your professional lives as well as in your academic lives. So if you have any further questions or concerns about the peer review process, please let me know. Otherwise, go ahead and have at it. Good luck.